Good morning, dear students. Let us discuss about the determinants of demand and demand function. Demand. As we are all human beings, we have some wants. These wants are satisfied with goods and services. We fulfill our wants with the goods and services. First, the goods and services will purchase. The purchase of goods and services leads to demand. Meaning of the demand. In general, we think demand means desire or for a good or a thing. But in the economic sense, willing to purchase for a good along with purchasing power and purchased quantity of a good is called demand. Now, see a example. Desire to have a car is 1000. Sufficient purchasing power has 20, 50 individuals. Purchased cars by individuals is 2. So, what is the demand for cars in this contest? It is 2 only. So, what is the demand? At a given price and time, the purchased quantity of commodity is called demand of the commodity. Determinants of demand. Price of the commodity, income of the consumer, prices of substitutes and complementary goods, preferences and tastes of consumer, wealth, population, technical changes, climate and weather conditions, economic and business conditions. These are important determinants of demand. Now we see or discuss about the determinants one by one. First, price of the commodity. Price is the most important determinant of the demand. A commodity's demand directly depends upon the commodity's price. Here we observe a table. In this table, price of the mangoes, kilos for 50 rupees, demand is 1 kilo. At the 40 rupees, 2 kilos. At the price 30 rupees, 3 kilos. 20 rupees, 4 kilos. 10 rupees, 5 kilos. When we observe this table, price of the commodity decreases, the quantity of demand will decrease. So, the price of the commodity and demand of the commodity has inverse relationship. If the price of commodity increases, its demand will increase and vice versa. So there is a inverse relationship between price of a commodity and its demand. Consumer's income. Consumer's income is the most important determinant of demand. A commodity's demand also depends upon consumer's income. Consumer's income increase increases. If consumers' income increases, the demand of commodity also increases. Observe the table. When the income of consumer increases, the commodity of demand also increases. If the income of consumer increases, commodities demand will increase and vice versa. So there is a positive relationship between income of consumer and commodities demand. Next, substitution goods, prices of substitution goods and demand. Various goods available for a good to fulfill a want are called substitution goods. Example, tea, Horlicks and Bournvita, etc. are substitutes for coffee. If the price of coffee increases, the demand of tea will increase. If we observe this table, the price of the coffee increases, the tea of demand of tea also increases. Price of the coffee increases, tea of demand also increases. So there is a positive relationship between commodities price and commodities demand of substitution goods. Component goods. Combination of goods to fulfill a want are called component goods or complementaries. For example, car and petrol. We observe, if we observe the table, price of the petrol increases, the demand for cars will decrease. If the price of the petrol increases, cars demand will decrease and vice versa. So there is a negative relationship between commodities price and commodities demand of component goods. Next, tastes and preferences of consumer also determine the demand. If preferences of tastes of a consumer change, the demand will also change. Some tastes and preferences increase the demand for a good, and some are decrease the demand. Wealth. Wealth is also a determinant of demand. If wealth increases, the demand will also increase. Population. Population increasement in population is leads to increase in demand. Technological changes. Technological changes may increase the production and decrease in production cost. So technological changes leads to increase in production and low prices. So technological changes leads to increase in demand. Climate and weather conditions. Climate and weather conditions also determine the demand. For example, coffee and tea, like these hot drinks, has demand in winter season, and weather conditions also determine the demand. Economic and business conditions also determine the demand. The good economic and business conditions may increase the demand for goods in general. Demand function. The functional relationship between demand and determinants of demand is called demand function. We write the functional relation between demand and determinants of demand in a equation or in a formula as dx is equal to function of px, y, psc, t, so on. In this, dx is equal to demand of the good x, px is equal to price of the commodity x, y, income of consumer, psc, prices of substitutes and complementaries, T is equal to tastes of consumers. F is equal to functional relation. In the determinants of demand, price is the most important. When the remain other determinants are constant, then the demand function is dx is equal to function of px. In this, dx is equal to demand of the commodity x, px is equal to price of the commodity x, f is equal to functional relation. Thank you. Wish you all the best.